Yeah, I mean, it's certainly an interesting final. I mean, ultimately, we've got two English teams that we're very well versed in, two British teams that we're very well versed in because we see them regularly on our television. So we lose the intrigue of seeing somebody that we don't see more regularly, whether it's Madrid or PSG. But we're seeing the best two teams right now. I think probably the best two teams in Europe on current form. Put aside the West Brom aberration for Chelsea. Their ascent has been significant since he's walked through the door, the manager. And they're a very, very good side. And look at their bench. They've got a very strong bench. They're just a good side. And I think it will make for a very interesting final, tactical one, because you've got two coaches that will play in a certain way and are very well aware of one another. And Tuchel's landed a blow on Guardiola this season already. So it's a fascinating time for Chelsea. I mean, they've got two finals. They've got an FA Cup final and they've got a Champions League final. And if this guy walks out with the Champions the grounds, well, you won't get them there faster than that, will you?
Exactly.
The biggest tournament in English football. Biggest tournament in domestic football.
Yeah.
Walk away with that one. Fascinating. Fascinating.
One in the eye for Florentino Perez as well. I quite enjoyed that because in he came and out he went with nothing.
Very true. But by the same token, there would be a school of thought that said that these two could have been yanked out of this tournament. Where would UEFA be now? Because UEFA were threatening this, and the potential sanctions that could result on these sides that participated, these teams, these clubs in the ESL. They'd both be out of the tournament now. They'd have no Champions League final.
That's right. So it's the Europa League tonight, and it's a turn of Arsenal going against Villarreal, and Manchester United, of course, already 1 foot in the final, you would think, up against Roma. We're going to hear from Martin Keown as Arsenal take on Unai Emery's Villarreal. What did it tell us last night, though, Simon? The fact that Chelsea got there, the fact now, of course, they'll face Manchester City, who got rid of Pochettino and PSG.
Yeah.
Does it tell us more about the Premier League's dominant quality, or is this a poor European elite that they face at the moment?
I think it's probably a combination of the two. I think we've had this domination before. We had Liverpool and Tottenham in the Champions League final, and we had Arsenal and Chelsea in the Europa final. So it's not something we've not seen before. It doesn't mean that we're all conquering, because the following season it was won by Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
So we are where we are. We have a dominant league. We have the best players. The irony of it is, I made a slightly facetious tweet, and it wasn't meant to be overly facetious, but we've got 5 English players played amongst those two games for Man City and Chelsea. We've got 2 foreign managers, and we've got Petro owners. For the only thing that's English about these clubs is the geography and the fan base.
Yeah, pretty much.
But that might be translated into any football club in this day and age.
Pretty much.
But what it tells us is what it should tell us is that we've got 2 very good sides playing in our domestic football that we think is the best league in world football. We think it's the best league in European football, and right now we're proving that point.
Yeah, there's T from Kent. Good morning to you, T. It's absolutely showing us a poor European elite. City are very, very good. However, Manchester United are a very average team, and they're second in our league. The Spanish teams and the Italian teams are poor this year. That is a fact. The only top-class team is Bayern Munich, says T in Kent. Well, I'm not so sure they're poor. I mean, Inter Milan have shone under Conte.
You beat the teams that you beat, and Bayern Munich were beaten by PSG, who were dispatched by Manchester City, and ultimately you can turn around and you can degrade someone else's performance, or you can sit on the positive and say, well, this is a half full glass, and our sides are the best. And you can look at the other side and you can say there's a decline. And Manchester United in the Europa League, well, we all know that the Europa League is a second-rate tournament. We know that because of the nature of some of the sides that are in it and the people's reaction to being in it in the first place. All of the top sides want to avoid being in the Europa League if they can possibly help it. But a trophy becomes a trophy, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer may yet prove me wrong about being a trophyless season. Yeah. Certainly should. So I don't think that's a right view. I think that's the wrong view. I think that's a negative view to sit there and say it says that everyone else is rubbish. We're not good. We're just good because everyone else is poor.
I have to say, Simon, I doubt if we've ever witnessed a more transformative manager in such a short space of time as this guy, Thomas Tuchel. Even afterwards, he was impressing me just by the way he spoke. I must admit, I miss Frank Lampard. We're going to be hearing from Frank at some stage soon. I keep in touch with Frank. I may as well tell the listeners I'm not breaking any confidence here. And when Frank chooses to speak, he will speak to you and I. He's keen to join us at some stage. Not just yet. Okay. This isn't his time, he was saying to me.
The tools.
But this is Tuchel's time, and this is Chelsea's time under Tuchel.
The tools that he's been given, were a very nice set of tools. Right? They weren't a bunch of old blunt used instruments. They were, bright and shiny Black & Decker new gear that he had to play with. Well, he's got Timo Werner starting to get going now. He's got Havertz that was bought by Frank Lampard. He's got Mason Mount bought from the youth system that Frank Lampard took to Derby, put back into Chelsea, got him going. So a lot of the tools that he had there were part and parcel of the mix. Without wanting to make the comparison as blunt as this, Chelsea's like an orchestra now being conducted by Andre Previn. It wasn't being conducted by Mr. Magoo before, but you've got an expert conductor now that really knows his trade, and Frank was learning his. But Frank got all the parts, all the moving parts were there, and Tuchel has got the benefit. He must have looked at it when he walked through the door and gone, Christ almighty, I've got a Ferrari here. I'll say it's a Mini, but it's a Ferrari, and all I've got to do is tune it up, give it a polish, and away we go.
Yeah.
And that's what he's done.
Yeah.
But he's also an outstanding communicator. Listen to that post-match interview with Des Kelly, and you go, tell you what, I love some of you.
Yeah.
I'd play for you. I like what you have to say. I hear what you have to say. I like the nature of the way you distill what we're seeing in front of us. You distill it for the layman. Everyone can understand what positive mental attitude is. Everyone can understand about winning your individual battles. Everyone can understand about the desire to want to defend. And he makes it so translatable that you think to yourself, this is a proper manager of the 21st century.
Well, that's
really,
right.
Really
and
top
that,
drawer.
Simon, is why they've got 18 clean sheets in 24 games for Tuchel.
Yep.
I mean, what a statistic that is. In 4 months at Chelsea, this guy has beaten Zidane, Pep, Klopp, Simeone twice, Mourinho, we remember him, and Carlo Ancelotti, without conceding a single goal in any of those 7 games.
Yeah, no, he is what you would describe as, and I forget to mention him sometimes when I'm talking about these elite coaches. We asked a question yesterday about the bridesmaid and the bride, and I was using the analogy that Pochettino was a bridesmaid, right? And then I talked about he doesn't have that elite X factor that takes him from the elite to the uber elite with Guardiola, Klopp, and Mourinho's deeds in the past. But Tuchel does.
Yes, true.
And you see why.
True.